Hello, so here we go again. Here's today's photo. Today's article is on popular mechanics, and it seems to be about precognition. Precognition. And this is the eerie photo, as Michael described it, uh, hopefully helping us understand that subject. It's really quite eerie and a little bit disturbing, this photo. I think it's the glowing eyes that does it. This is what we were saying before, isn't it? I think really. So I can see a pair of hands, but also it seems almost projected onto those hands as the shape and the outline of a face with these glowing eyes. So here we go. This is the article. I'll click over to here. So I've got several tabs open and I'll move around those tabs as need be. So it's titled, Scientists Tried to See if Gut Feelings Could Predict the Future. What they found was haunting. That's a good word. Your hunches about the future aren't just in your head. And you can see this was written a couple of days ago. And the name is Ashley Tysiac. Tysiac. And the photo is Getty and it's IG Royal. Right, okay, so the way we work is that the first person who comes into the class, comes into the Zoom meeting, then they get the chance to to read first. And if they want, they can go home and have a cup of tea and leave at that point if they want to. But if it's a big class and you're the 10th person to come in, that means you have to wait till the end of the class. That's the idea. Okay, so Michael, it's over to you if that's okay. Let me just close this little thing down the bottom and it's over to you. So for years, the strange phenomenon. Over to you, Mike.
Okay, for years, the strange phenomenon of precognition is unwavering gut feeling that something will happen in the future has puzzled scientists. The eerie concept may sound far-fetched, but many studies suggest there is statistical evidence to back up recognition's existence. At the center of the research is a mid-1990s study by parapsychologist Dan Radin, PhD, that reshaped how we understand our ability to predict the future. Curious about your consciousness? Dive deeper into the science behind gut feelings and your mind's brilliant capabilities. While working at the University of Nevada, Redding, who had studied precognition for years, hypothesized, hypothesized that if consciousness trans- transcendent time, reactions to a stimulus would occur before the stimulus actually appeared. So he put that hypothesis to their test using an EEG machine to record the brain activity of study participants. Hooked up the EEG, the subject reacted to prompts and images, including positive photo images. What?
Carry on, carry on.
Images, images, including positive photos like a sunrise and negative pictures such as a car crash. The EEG measured the subject's brain activity during the short 5 second span between when they received the prompt and when they saw the image.
Yes, really good. Well done. Very good. I, I, I was. You said images, and that's exactly how you said it. And so I said, "Ah!" I got excited for a moment because I think the last time the word images came up, you said images. I think it was images. I think you said something like that. But you had it spot on. Images. That's it. That's it. And me actually saying in my excitement when you read it, I said, "Yeah," or something. It then messed you up. I tripped you up accidentally. I'm sorry about that. That was a good reading. Well done. Well done. So, So well done on the images. Anything else there you would want to, anything you want to ask about, or any words you want to clarify, meanings,
It's
pronunciations?
uh,
There was a few, I think, that struck you
the,
in particular.
the first sentence
Hmm.
pronunciation unwavering.
Yeah,
Un,
that's pretty much it. Yeah. So yeah, I think so. You've got the W and the V. So that's the tricky bits, I think, isn't it? So obviously the un bit makes it the opposite, doesn't it? Makes something into an opposite. So there's a real word that is wavering. So if you're wavering, it means you're not quite sure about something. You may, oh, I might do that. I might not do it. Shall I go to the shops or shan't I? You're wondering. You're wavering or wobbling
wait,
between two possibles. But if you're
yeah,
unwavering, it means it's dead certain about something. It's dead straight or something. Okay,
uh,
hope that makes sense.
yes, Tysiac's,
So do you want to say it again? So perhaps practice the shorter version, just the wavering bit.
wavering, wavering, wavering,
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? So wavering, wavering.
wavering,
Oh, that's better.
wavering,
Yeah, yeah. It's got.
unwavering.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think the W, the sound, the W sound, and the V sound, that's tripping up very slightly. I think because you're giving a lot of emphasis to them because you know they're tricky for you. So yeah. But you're about 80% there with that one. It just sounds a little bit you're a little bit off your beam, I think, when you're saying that. But it is a bit more practice, I would say. So we could come back to that at the end. Anything else there you want to say or ask? Any other
Yes,
words?
yes, yes, yes. Uh, far-fetched.
Oh yes, I noticed that one.
It
Yes, yeah.
is meaning something don't understand clearly.
Not really. No, I think when you say something's far-fetched, you sort of understand it, but there might be an element where you've misunderstood something, but that's just a possibility. But when you say something's far-fetched, you're saying, oh, that's sort of unbelievable what you've said. I don't really believe what you said. So you're going to the shops and you saw an alien buying some peas in the shop. Well, that sounds sort of ridiculous, unbelievable. It's sort of, you might say it's far-fetched. That's a bad example, actually, but something not quite, you don't really, don't think that's quite accurate in some sense. But often you talk about far-fetched when it's a story. Perhaps it's a film or a book. Oh, the film, it was a bit far-fetched. I didn't really believe it because it was just a bit too far-fetched. That's what they mean, really. That's how it often gets used. Yeah, that was a good question. And it's not really, I think you said far-fetched. So the ed sound isn't quite right. So it's far-fetched. Far-fetched.
Far-fetched.
That's it. You got it.
Far-fetched.
Yeah, yeah, far-fetched.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Yeah, this
Mm.
that's a hypothesis. Oh, it's uh,
Oh yes,
third
yes. I noticed that
third
one too.
paragraph. Third paragraph. Yes,
Mm.
hypothesis, hypothesized.
Yes, yeah, sort of, yeah. So, well, there's that word there, and the two lines below it, there's this one, and there's sort the same, basically the same idea, but different endings, aren't they? Same meaning, essentially. So this one I've highlighted at the moment. So you can see that there, thesis, can't you? Thesis. So what do you think it
This,
means? What does it mean, the word?
uh,
Any idea?
no, 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 I know.
Explain
Forward,
it then.
hypothesis.
Yeah, you got it. Yes, hypothesis. Yes, that's it. You've probably searched it. So
Uh,
hypothesis. Yeah. So
it's
thesis is what does it mean?
it when we can show evidence about something, but we try to
Mm, mm, mm,
explain
mm.
existence of this. We we give hypothesis. So it's might be
Mm. S- that sounds great. Yes, that's it. I think
because
pretty much. Yeah.
I
No,
don't know
that's good.
because in my language we use hypothesis. It's also it's maybe Greek word. or Latin words,
Greek.
maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, yes, it's spot on. Yes. So,
It's related
you look.
with
Yeah.
theoretical, but have some difference. Uh,
So I think so, so you might start off for every law that we have, and I don't mean a law of the land like the speed limits, that kind of a law. I sort of mean really a scientific law, like this, like the speed of light is the maximum speed, and anything can go. That's sort of a law, isn't it? Well, before it was a law, it sort of was a theory, you could say, and then evidence was found, or more evidence was found, and that turned it into a law, or became accepted as a law. But before it was a theory, you could say it was a hypothesis. So you could say a hypothesis is at an early stage before it becomes a law. And before that, it could have been a supposition. A supposition. I haven't spelt out supposition. So you might say scientifically, that's sort of the route you go. Supposition, hypothesis, theory, then a law. But often you might say the theory of evolution. But most people would think of that as a law of evolution, but not everyone, of course. Most people think of it as a theory. But that's sort of, it's more that the idea has got stuck at that level in people's minds. But in the scientific world, most people regard it as a law. I don't know what I'm talking about that for. So that's hypothesis. You've got that really. And how would you guess that one was said then? So you've had a hypothesis, but what's that one? So it's got you thinking now.
it's maybe it's like adjective,
Yeah, okay. But how do
or
you pronounce it? So
maybe
it's similar to hypothesis. So it's how do you pronounce it?
hypothesis.
Hypothesize.
Side, side.
Yes, I think you both got it. That's it. Hypothesized. That's it. I think you got it. Both got it. That's it. Yeah. Hypothesized. Yeah, there you go. Well done. And the other word in that sentence, I think you a little bit tricky. Was that one there for you? I think.
Yes, and also
Hmm.
before this word, consciousness. I don't know. It's
That's spot on. You've got it. Consciousness. If you remember, this word came up last week, didn't it? Yeah, literally last week. And you had it last week too. So yeah, conscious. Well, there's no ness on the end of it that time. It's just conscious. I think we're doing sleep or something, weren't we? So conscious, consciousness. So it's effectively being awake, or presumably one imagines. Normally, if you're not conscious, you would say you are unconscious. But you've got it. Well done.
transcend, transcendent, transcended,
Yeah, yeah,
transcend.
that's it. That's pretty much it. Yes. So, yeah, transcended. Any idea what it means? Would like me to tell you? Trans.
Transcended. It's
Yes. Good.
uh, hmm, trans. It's give information from one side to another. Trans.
Yeah, I suppose there is a sort of an idea of that in a way. In that paragraph, there's a sort of an idea of that. Um, but I would say the trans bit is more to do with sort of, let's say, transport, as in transportation. But let's actually look the word up. So transcended sort of means like to go beyond, to go the other side, to in some way or other. Let's actually tap it into the dictionary. Let's cheat. We've still got kinetic in there from last time. So transcend. Let's take the ed. I'm going to say transcend. Um, Sometimes in religion we talk about transcend, or I suppose in psychic. So what does it say? So verb. So something that transcends normal limits or boundaries, goes beyond them. I think that's what we said, wasn't it? Goes beyond, because it is more significant than them. But it might also be in a metaphysical way, in a way that we can't really understand. So transcend, it says surpass is another way of talking, using another word, pretty good. Exceed, go beyond, rise above, more transcend there. So an example sentence is issues like humanitarian aid that transcend party loyalty. Bit of an odd way of describing it. So ours was transcended, wasn't it? Let's listen to them say it.
transcended,
Or they're saying it very slowly. Transcended. Transcended. Do you want to try it again? I think you
Transcend,
have it really. Michael, transcended.
transcended,
Tran- Transcended.
Yeah. So yes, pretty much. So, but the first bit is, there's words like transport. If you get on a bus or a train, that's a form of transport. So it's
transcend,
trans. I think when you're
trans,
saying the trans, the A doesn't sound quite right. So transport, transcend. Yes, transcended, transcended. Try again,
tran,
Michael.
transcend.
Transcended.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you for Flo. Flo, could you just mute yourself a second? Because we can hear you saying all the words at the moment. So, and I find it hard here. Could you try again, Michael? I didn't quite catch what you said.
Transcended. Transcended.
Yeah, yeah, that's getting there. It might need a little bit more practice. I think you're not quite getting it. I don't know why, but let's use the
Trans-
transcend. Transcend.
transcend,
So transcend, transcend, transcend. So it means to go beyond. I transcend, or it transcends this issue. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Actually, I think we're just going to leave it there. Maybe we'll practice that sentence. Anything else you wanted to go back over again? Um, did the last paragraph, didn't we? Anything else that you want to ask about, Michael? Or for
mm,
that matter, Florence? And we're coming to the end of this little bit here, I think.
no,
No,
I haven't.
okay, that's good. Maybe this word down the very bottom, the last line, if you can see at the bottom of the screen. So there's got a W there, but you sort of could say the W's silent in a way, or that the A and the W together make a particular sound. And it's sort of, when I'm listening, I think I can hear you trying to pronounce the W sort of. That's what I imagine, but I might be wrong. So, so it's just the way you're saying the W on the end. Well, the word, I suppose, really. So, saw. That's how I would say this word, saw. So it's a synonym, not synonym. It's the same sound as this word here. So this is another. It sounds the same, but it's the same sound, but different meaning. So saw and saw. So if you cut a piece of wood in half, it's the same as this saw. This is cutting a piece of wood in half,
So,
and you're seeing something in the past tense. And again, saw.
so,
Um, I can almost hear a th sound at the beginning. So saw. Try that again. Saw.
so,
Yeah, yeah, that's your best one, I think, so far. That's the best one. Saw. Yeah. I tend to think the W is in effect silent. But as I've said many times, I think in primary school, when children are learning English in the UK, I think they're sort of told the A and the W together make a particular sound. And it's this sort of or sound, effectively. So it's s and then an or sound. Saw. Saw. This is why I typed this word up too, because these, I forgot what the word is now. They make exactly the same sound. Okay. Anything else I saw there? So well done for the images. I did notice that. That was good. Anything else? I think you really did everything that noticed, really. Um, there was some things a bit far-fetched, wasn't there? I was just going to mention, I can't think which one it was. It might have, it was one of the TH words. It might have been the or the there. I can't think where it was, or one of the other ones. It just sounded a little bit like, what was it? I think it was the, wasn't it? Was it? I think it had a bit of a. Oh, I'm not sure now. I remember. I know. Remember in the past, you sort of pronounced it a little bit like a D, D airy concept, making like a D sound at the front. So at the beginning, a little bit of that. But other ones you didn't do it. So it's just the one instance of it. So I think that's quite good. Well done. Um, so could we reread maybe this little paragraph there? Is that okay? I'll read it first, then it's your go. Is that okay?
Okay.
And then it's your go again. So my time. I hope I don't mess this up. Here we go. So, while working at the University of Nevada, Radin, who had studied precognition for years, hypothesized that if consciousness transcended time, reactions to a stimulus would occur before the stimulus actually appeared. So he put that hypothesis to the test using an EEG machine to record the brain activity of study participants. So you'll go.
While working at the University of Nevada, Radin, who had studied precognition for years, hypothesized, hypo, hypothesized that if consciousness transcended time, reactions to a stimulus would occur before the stimulus actually appeared. So he put the hypothesis to the test using the EEG machine to record the brain activity of study participants.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Well done. So either of you guys, what's an EEG machine? I think it's come up twice because it's down here as well. And but what is an EEG?
Electroencephalogram. It's like
Yes,
electrocardiogram for heart. It's brain. It's
mm,
evaluated or assessment for your brain activity.
yes, that's it. Yes, yes, that's the EEG. So there may be some photo. Oh, there's a little photo here. So it looks like a lady, and if you look, this is the operator looking at the screen, but the lady in yellow, she has some sort of a weird thing on her head, doesn't she? So, and that's the sensors on the of the EEG operating on her. And as just as you said, so electroencephalogram. I have heard it called an electroencephalograph. So graph as well as gram. I have a sort of, but this is the British website, so I guess in Britain we now call it gram. Exactly as you said, Michael.
Maybe
Okay.
electroencephalograph. It's a machine, uh, like who record
Well,
machine
yeah, the piece of paper, you might
which,
say. Yeah.
which recorded this.
Yes. Yes. That's it. Okay. So let's roll on then. I think we've looked at that long enough, haven't we? So it's actually over to you now, Flo. So you got to we got up to there, I think, didn't we? So read as much or as little as you fancy. If you have any
Hmm.
difficult words, just give it a good go and then but carry on. Give it 2 or 3 goes, we're not sure. But carry on. Over to you. So the results were, it starts off with.
Hmm. Oh no, too many words. I don't know how to pronounce, but
Well, give it a
it's
go. I
fine.
mean, so it's giving it a go, really, I think. Is it big enough? Can you see it okay?
Yes. Is it the results were
Yeah.
assaulting while a
Astounding. That's it.
subject
Yeah, carry on.
predicted a positive image? They react very little, but they showed a spike in brain activities when they expect to see a negative image. Radon's findings were statistically significant, and since then, researchers have repeated his study successfully nearly 3,000 times. His work provides influential enough that the CIA declassified its pre-systemic research in 1995, and statistics confirmed the effect was statistically reliable. Still, questions remain about the science behind precognition. Numbers provide it exists, but why? What case those psychic gut feelings? Is time truly linear? While Radon's works provide a runway of substantive Substantiating precognition, the next step is finding evidence of its mechanism and perhaps convincing others to let go of their fears of the unknown. Still mind-boggled by the future predictive capabilities of your consciousness. Dive deeply into the mystery of gut feelings and foreseeing the future by reading published features on the complexities of precognition.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes, well done. Well done. Very well done. How did that go for you? Was that hard, easy? You said there were a few words you weren't quite sure about.
Some words I'm not using this usually. That's why I
Yes.
speak it so so weird.
You're a little unsure, that's it, yes. It is a little bit harder, I would say. We don't. This is a little as an article. It's a fairly hard article. We don't often read ones quite this hard, I think. So I did actually have a different article that you could have read, but you've done. I think you've done okay. So often you want to be a little bit stretched. You want things a little bit harder than you think you can do because it helps you to achieve more. If you're constantly doing something at the same level, then you don't really improve. So it may be a little bit too hard for you, but you've done very well, I think. Um, so, were there any words in particular that you wanted to ask about because they really interested you, or you think you know you've got it wrong, or you think you've got it wrong, and you want to get the
Mm,
pronunciation, particularly, or any words the meaning for the meaning maybe?
yes, actually, I didn't read this science article before or
No,
for a long time. Yes.
no, I don't expect people to read it actually. So I think it's good to read it on the day if you can. So that's okay. That's no problem. No, but when you've just this bit you've just read now, were there any words that you noticed that you wanted to particularly get correct, and that you
Mm,
think you did wrong, or you weren't don't know the meaning, and you want to know the meaning of that word?
how about this word, the science behind precognition?
Yes. So this one here, that word.
Yes.
So this is what we're talking about. This is the main sort of subject. So with English, they often start or end sometimes with a little prefix, some little few letters go before it. And in this case, the pre has its own little meaning, you might say. Um, so because English is made up of originally from lots of other little languages, we sort of stolen bits from, say, Latin and Greek. So sometimes we can look at a word and sort of guess its meaning. So this one is pronounced precognition. Precognition.
Precognition.
Yeah, and so if I say something's pre, what do you think that means? We don't normally say pre on its own, but what do you think pre
Prepare,
means? Sorry?
prepare or
Prepare.
pre-mute
I
to
suppose,
make it.
yes. Preview, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it sort of means this idea of before, isn't it? If you have a preview of something, it means you're looking at it before you really should look at it, or a quick view of something before it gets published or something. That's a preview, isn't it? That's the same thing here. So this is something before. The idea with pre means sort of before or early in one sense. And when you think, thinking is cognition. When you're thinking, another word you could use is cognition. So this is before thinking. That's the meaning of the word, really. So precognition. Do you want to try again? Precognition.
Precognition.
Yeah, that's really good. That's it. I see you about 90% there. That's it. So it's got this sort of cog, then nition. Precognition. That's what we sort of say. But obviously we say it quickly.
Precognition.
Yeah, precognition. Precognition. It's not really nitchen, but Precognition. The sort of the T in this case makes an S sound for some reason. So I think it's the TI makes an S sound, really, isn't it? Any other words that you wanted to check out particularly? I think you said you sort of spent a moment on that word there.
Consciousness.
Sort of. And Michael wondered about this word too. So if we miss out the ending for the moment, the ness ending, that's a standard sort of an ending of words, isn't it? So the beginning word or the root part of it is conscious.
Conscious.
Yes, pretty much conscious. And so if you're conscious, it just means you're awake, basically, or it's your awake mind. So we're still talking about the mind. So precognition is about thinking before something happens. Consciousness or conscious is about being awake and aware. Awareness, really, you could say. Awareness is another way of talking about it.
Yes.
And if you're unconscious, that's the opposite. Normally, you may be asleep or you've been knocked out. Something hit you on your head and you've fallen over and you've lost consciousness. So you're no longer aware of things anymore when you're unconscious.
Consciousness.
It's a bit of a tricky sound. So you sometimes you're getting it and sometimes you just slip away from it. And it's in the middle. You're not quite getting the SC sound quite right, I think, in the middle. Sometimes you have it right and sometimes you slip. So conscious. So I suppose you could say, I think this is right. So if I type it up here, maybe, it's on this little box here. So that's the word conscious. So the way I think about it is I suppose I'm saying although there's a C there, I think you could say the C and the I are making like another S sound, I suppose you could say. So it's conscious. It's all, although there's a C that's a bit confusing, so it's conscious. That makes sense. Conscious.
Conscious.
Yeah, I can hear something like a T sound sometimes when you're doing it. So conscious. Conscious. Do you want to practice that sort of shush sound in the middle? Conscious. This is the dictionary. Let's tap it in. Let's hear them say it. It might help a little bit. So this is them saying it.
Conscious.
Yeah, conscious. Okay. So
Conscious.
and again, sorry, say it again.
Conscious.
Yeah, you're about 80 to 90% there, but it seems as if there's almost a T sometimes. When I'm hearing it, it sounds like almost there's a T slipping in there. It's only slightly. It's not strong. I can sort of understand what you're saying. Yes, I can understand what you're saying actually. But I guess maybe I'm overly perfecting the sound perhaps. So if you're conscious of something, you notice it or realize that it is happening. In other words, you're awake. Isn't it? It's about awareness, isn't it? It's an adjective, isn't it? Where's the article gone? Okay, so perhaps write those words down. Let's practice and then come back to maybe. Anything else? Anything else that you wanted to particularly do or check out?
Let's see.
Yeah.
They use so many statistically or
Yes. So do you
statistical.
know the? That's it. Yes, you're there almost. So do you know the meaning of the word? You know what it means or what it's about?
It's about numberable or
Numbers. Yes, it's about numbers, isn't it? That's it. That's pretty good.
maths and statistic.
It's a tricky word. Statistics. It's got lots of S's and T's in there, isn't it? It's like a trick word almost, isn't it?
I
So
think it's probability.
yeah, it's to do with probability. Normally it's about probability, isn't it? Often as not. So you say something exactly as you know, really. So you've got it. But you might say statistically something like when you're 80 years old, you have a 20% chance of dying of some sort of illness, something
Everybody
like
has
that.
chance to die.
Statistically, that's it. Yeah, we're all going to die eventually. So statistically. But the shorter version, let's take off the statistics. Let's say statistic for the moment. That's the sort of the root word, I suppose. Some people say stats. They just say stats. They say stat and put an S on the end of it. So what do the stats say about this probability? They might say something like that. And that's a clever way of doing it, you might say, or a tricky way. It's a noun they're saying. Let's listen to them. Statistic.
Statistic.
Yeah, statistic. And with an S on the end, statistics.
Statistics.
Yeah. So do you want to do those two words, statistics and statistic? Oh. I can't hear you, Flo. Do you want to give those a practice?
Statistic.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Statistic. Just do it again.
Statistic.
Once more, Flo.
Statistic.
Yeah, you're pretty much there. But it does need practice. I think you have got it, but it just wants you to do it another 10 times to embed it into your memory, sort of a thing, I guess.
Yes.
So let's see. Have they got the other ones, like statistically and statistical, all those sorts of things? And oh, they haven't. Unless I'm doing it wrong, I think. So I had statistical, didn't I? Let's tap statistical or statistically in there or something. Yeah, statistically. So just so you can hear it. Is it here? Oh, it is here. I didn't think it was going to be here. So let's listen to them saying it. So in terms of or according to statistics.
Statistically.
Do you want to give that one a go? So statistically. Do you want to give that one a go, Flo?
Statistically.
Not quite. It is a bit much, isn't it? So maybe we'll leave that as a limit for the moment.
Yeah.
So it's statistically.
Statistically.
Yeah. So it's taking it slow, but it is a tricky one because you've got an ST sound, then a T on its own, then it comes back to an ST sound again. So it's damn tricky.
Yes.
So, but you're doing okay. So maybe just leave that one for the moment. We'll come back to it. Just do the statistics version of it. There were some words there which you're so rarely used, I won't even go back over again. But maybe just do this precognition again, maybe. So precognition. Do you want to practice that again? Precognition.
Precognition.
Ooh, you lost it a bit there.
Precognition.
So precognition. Precognition.
Precognition.
Yeah, almost. So, but I am saying pre, then cog. So there's a G sound. I think you missed out the G a little bit. So precognition.
Precognition.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. There was another word here. I'm trying to think what it was that I noticed. I think it was started with an R, and so let's type it up here. I can remember the word, but I can't see it on the screen. So reliable. I think it was reliable or reliably. I think something like that. So this is on the screen over here on the side. I've typed it out. So can you try this one? So this is reliable.
Reliable.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So, and it means that you can trust this. It's accurate. It will be there always, presumably. And once again, so reliable.
Reliable.
Yeah, that's good. Pretty good. There was this longish word here, and it didn't come out quite right. Do you want to try this one too? Or is it too long?
Substantive.
Mm-hmm.
Substantive.
Yeah, your first bit is spot on, so that's exactly right, and it is a bit tricky. Yeah, so substantiating. Another one of these cases where the T turns into an S-y sort of a sound. It's a bit tricky, isn't it? So substantiating.
Substantiating.
Yeah. Any idea what it means? Substantiate or substantiating? You're tapping it in, aren't you? So I can tell you the meaning if you want. So I'm trying to get you to think about it rather than just tap it into a screen and to find out. So if you substantiate something, it comes back to that business about laws and theories. If you have a theory about something, if you want to turn it into a law, you sort of need more evidence. You need to substantiate it. You need more evidence to substantiate it. So, to substantiate a statement or a story or a theory, or as my idea was going, a story means to supply evidence which proves that it is true. In our case, we turn the theory into a law, effectively.
Which means evidence to
It's
prove
evidence.
something.
Effectively, it means evidence, but normally, it's in a particular case about building up a particular incident.
Yeah,
You need to substantiate your claims, you might say. You're making a great claim there, but you need to substantiate it. In other words, you want evidence,
substantiate.
something to back it up. So here we go. Read this one here, and it says little scientific evidence. So there is little scientific evidence to substantiate the claims. That's that one there. So it's support, prove. This is what substantiate means. Support, prove, confirm, establish. Yeah, establish is a great scientific word, isn't it? Sort of a scientific word, often is not. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is perhaps read this first bit, this first paragraph. I'll read a few words, and then if you could just copy those few words after me. So I'll say maybe those first 4 words where it says, the results were astounding. And you say the same thing back, read it back to me. So we'll do that now if that's okay, just for practice. So I'll start off, then you copy. So the results were astounding. You'll go.
The results were astounding.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So the results were astounding. When a subject predicted.
When the subject predict.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So when a subject predicted a positive image. So that bit there, positive image.
A positive image.
Yeah, okay. They reacted very little.
They react very little.
So once again, maybe. So they reacted very little.
They reacted very little.
Okay. When you're saying reacted, you go a little bit quiet there. So the R might be a bit tricky, I think, but you're doing it okay, actually. Maybe to there. But they showed a spike.
But they showed a spike.
Good. So what's a spike? What does that mean, a spike?
A bridge.
A bridge. It's not a million miles away, but not exactly. A spike is a sudden change in something. So, do you remember they had these people wired up to the EEG machine back here?
Yes.
These people. So this lady's looking at a screen. So on that screen, there was a sudden change, a sudden spike in the readings that she's looking at. That's the spike. A sudden change, a sudden rise normally. So it suddenly shot up and maybe shot down again. And that would be a spike. So you might say be looking at a graph of a graph of, I don't know, a graph of temperature. If there's a sudden spike in the graph, that means the temperature suddenly went up and then presumably went back down again. Might be in your body temperature or the room temperature, let's say. That's spike anyway. So, but they showed a spike. So we got up to there, and then we'll carry on from here. Then, in brain activity when. So you'll go.
In brain activity when.
Okay, and maybe that word again. So activity.
Activity.
And once more, activity.
Activity.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. And then the next line is, we'll do a little bit more there. So they expected to see a negative image. They expected to see a negative image. You'll go.
They expected to see a negative image.
Yeah, good. And The rest of that line. So Radin's findings were statistically. You'll go.
Reading's findings were statistically.
Good, good. You got that pretty much. So, and this name here, this is a very unusual name. This is the first time I've ever seen this name, to be honest. But when you're saying it, it sounds as if you're saying, it sounds as if there's an E where my cursor is, right there, an E there. So it sounds as if you're saying Reading. No, yeah, Reading. I think it sounds as if you're saying Reading. But
Yes,
I'm actually saying Rad. I think I'm saying Radding, Radding. But it's a
reading.
minor detail, minor detail to be honest. So Radding's findings were statistically significant. So we'll miss out. Do you want to do significant? Okay, so we'll do significant, and those four words there. So significant, and since then. So you'll go.
Significant, and since then.
So maybe that word again. So I think the T was a little bit missing on the end there. So significant, significant.
Significant.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then the rest of that line is researchers have replicated his study. You'll go.
Researchers have replicated his study.
Yeah, that's good. So this one is replicated.
Replicate.
So
Replicate his.
any idea what it means, that word?
Uh,
Don't tap it in. If you're not sure, just say no, I don't. Say if you do know, say
just to start it again.
sort of. It does sort of mean again, basically. Yes. So they've done it again. Essentially, they've done his research again and found the same results. So exactly. So if you replicate something, it means you have an exact copy of it, effectively. So if there's an exact copy of me somewhere, you might say I've been replicated. Of course, that's an impossibility, hopefully. But
Yes.
so
It means
replicated.
though researchers follow his study
That's
to
right.
replicate
Yeah.
experience or
Yeah.
test to prove
Mm. Mm.
prove his study result is correct.
That's exactly it. Yes. Essentially, to prove or to find errors in a sense, you might say. That's it. Yes. So let's just do that word again. I think that thing again. Just this top line here, though. So researchers have replicated his study. So it's replicated. Remember those four or five words again?
Researchers have replicated his study successfully nearly 3,000 times.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're doing this word here, it sounds as if you're missing out the L. It sounds like you're not doing the L right there.
Replicate.
Yeah, I'm hearing replicated, but I think I'm actually saying something like replicated. There's a sort of a lee, and I'm overdoing it now, of course. There's a lee sound there, and you're missing it out. I can sort of understand I can understand what you're saying, but if someone doesn't know what you're saying, they've got to think an extra second or two, and they might miss the meaning of what you're saying or not get the idea of what you're saying because they can't hear that sound there. So replicated. Do you want to try it like that? Replicated.
Replicated.
Oh, that's pretty good actually. Yes, replicated. That's it. That's good.
Replicated.
And I think it said successfully, nearly three. So this last bit again, maybe.
3,000 times.
Yeah. Okay. When you're saying this, it sounds a little bit like you're saying 3,000 times.
1,000 times. I know that.
Yeah. So this word here, I actually thought you said 3,000 to be honest.
Oh, it's not 1,000.
So
It's
thousand is a completely different
dozen.
number. Yeah. So
3,000 times.
we don't really say dozen. We say dozen. I know the
Dozen.
O you might think it's that, but it's as an R sound there really. So dozen. Try again.
3,000 times.
Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, that you have it. You have an accent. You have an English accent for there. I would say, well done. I actually had a good English accent. That's a well done. Okay, good. That's very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
So I think your R's and your L's are pretty good, actually, thinking about it. So I know it's tricky, but c considering you're doing very, very well with the R's and the L's, well done. Okay, so do you have any questions, Michael, about this little bit here? We've gone through that in detail. Anything you wanted
No,
to ask? No, no.
substantiating.
Yeah, that's a tricky word. Yeah, so substantiating, or substantiate is probably the root, isn't it? I think.
Substantiate,
Yeah.
substantiating, substantiation.
Yeah, substantiation with an ION on the end. That's it. That's good. Yeah, so it's about sort of finding more foundations, I think. So substantial, I think it relates to the same thing. If something is very big, you might say, "Oh, that's very substantial." Substantial. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Substantiating. So if you're substantiating something, you're making it more substantial. You're giving it more foundations, effectively. Substantial. Do you want to try that word again, Flo? So substantiating.
Substantiating.
That's really good. And Michael, you give it one more go. So substantiating.
substantiating.
Yeah, I think Michael's got it spot on pretty much there. And you're about 5% behind him, Flo. But you're very good. You're both very good, actually. You probably don't even need to look at that word again. But the problem is remembering it for next time. So make some kind of a note of it and redo it again, check it again in half an hour's time, and then before you go back to bed, maybe redoing it again. It's a really interesting article. We've actually gone a little bit over time, but we started quite late, didn't we? So is that an interesting article? Or did you understand it at all, I should say? Because we're so concentrated on the words, we sort of forget what we're reading about, really. So what do you remember that it was saying? So if I could go back to the title again, and what do you think it was saying? So scientists try to see if gut feelings could predict the future. What they found was haunting. So what was it saying, Michael or anyone?
Yes, it's quite interesting article, and honestly, I don't know about this investigation.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's quite interesting when uh, in in real uh, the psychologist,
Hmm.
parapsychologist Dan
Yeah.
Radin
Hmm.
show show to showed to whole world that our brain can predict some especially negative uh,
Hmm.
actions, negative feelings. I don't know, something negative. Our
Hmm.
brain uh, can predict something negative, and he is proved this by the he is proved this uh, shows
Hmm.
the encephala elect, electroencephalogram. He used EAG machine to
Hmm.
prove this So mm,
This idea or theory or supposition, that's pretty good actually, yes. Yeah, that's well put, I think.
and many other
Hmm.
investigators and many other scientists also
Hmm.
replicated this how it is called this well,
So studies?
these studies,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and also they had the same results.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But when you're talking there, the sense I'm getting is that you're saying it's definite. There's no doubt whatsoever. But and it wasn't absolutely clear. But when I was reading when we were reading this article together, I got the impression, if you noticed, that they were saying about it being statistically significant. Now, there's the word, yeah. So, Redding's findings were statistically significant. Now, they don't say what exactly he found. So, it might be that after, I don't know, 100 tests, 51% of the time they were predicting, they were getting it correct. Whereas if they did it just by chance, if they had their eyes closed and they perhaps had a monkey doing the test, it might get it correct just 50 times out of 100. But and I'm guessing this because I don't know, but I'm trying to reading between the lines. It seems to be saying something like that because they're saying Radding's findings were statistically significant, which says to me that there is a little bit of not doubt, but it's not overwhelmingly positively showing that people can predict what's going to happen next. I think it's, or that there was a
Yeah.
negative image was coming up. I think it's saying that there's a tendency, something of a tendency. So they're getting it perhaps more right than they're getting it wrong, but they're not getting it correct 100% of the time, or even 90% of the time. I think it's just a little bit beyond what you would expect. That's what I'm guessing. So well, the reason I said that was because when the words you were using, it made it sound as if it's 100% certain, there's no doubt. I'm not quite explaining that quite correctly, but
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So I'm just trying to give a bit more. So how would I say that? So it's quite a tricky. It's a subtle difference in the use of words, I suppose, just to make that clear in English anyway. But it's not obvious when you're reading the article. Actually, they've hidden it a little bit, I would say. They've hidden it quite well in those words there. Now, before we got going, you mentioned about this situation where you're thinking about someone, and then the next day they phone you up, or you see them, and you hadn't seen them in 5 years or something,
Yeah.
and it's very odd. That same sort of thing has happened to me. So, how often does that happen for you? Would you say, Michael? Is it a regular thing, or is it just once every year or something? Or?
No, it's quite, it's not regular like every day. But sometimes I have thought, oh, I, a long time I don't see some my patients, for example, or some person. And
Yeah.
or for example, more interesting when you, for example, traveling or have a trip to another city,
Mm,
and you have a thought, maybe I see someone from my little town in that
mm,
city,
mm,
and I don't know, suddenly you see some person, and
mm. And you
but
shouldn't really
sometimes
be seeing them, but because it's so unusual, unlikely that it would happen. But
yes,
you thought it was
uh,
going to happen, and then it happened. I see your point. Yeah.
but sometimes it's more frequently it's when you I thought I remember some person, especially it's sometimes my patients,
Mm,
and maybe not next day, but 2 or 3 days, in next 2 or 3 days, I will meet this
mm,
person, and oh,
mm. It's happened again, sort of thing.
I think our brain count all odds, count all operate with huge amount of information, and have some
Mm,
result, and said tomorrow you will see your uh,
your
uh,
friend or your patient. Yeah.
yes.
It's interesting. It's fascinating, isn't it? I think you're probably right. So you don't think it's psychic then? You don't think there's some sort of something mystical happening that we don't really understand or eerie? You think it's sort of almost scientific in that our brains are taking in all these details and we're not consciously aware that we've taken in this information, But our brain, perhaps when we're asleep, it adds it all up and works out that you maybe it's time to see this person or ring them up. And of course, they had the same thing happening for them in their sleep. Maybe they same sort of things, the same sort of things affect them, and then they think about the same sort of things, and they think about you, and maybe they then ring you up, and then you sort of their sort of this psychic incident then happens. Incident then happens. I haven't explained that very well. So, Florence, have you had any experience of that? Where you're
Mm,
thinking about something and you haven't rung somebody up or done this thing, and then it sort of happens, or you then see that person. So,
yes.
oh right, okay. So, any examples you can talk about?
Mm, I think it's probably like I didn't contact my family when we are not living together.
Mm.
Yes, but I will have some sign or signal. I know the
So, some
maybe
signal. What sort of what signal?
it's complicated to explain, but
Did you say a
sometimes you will
psychic
think that
signal? Did you say? Did you say a psychic signal?
yes, you will think
That's what you
that
said. Oh, okay, right, yeah, okay.
uh,
Carry on.
uh, uh, I would say that some bad signal or sign
Yeah.
in your mind, and you will find that maybe something happened. Yes, it looks like someone in trouble. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, carry on. Someone in
Mm,
trouble.
yes. And usually after that, you will find that some of our families or family members or siblings or friends, they may get in trouble or they have
Mm.
they were trapped, yes, by something. But I think it's so personal. It's a personal feeling.
Mm, mm. It's very personal, isn't it? It's hard to explain to somebody else because it's a detailed thing to you. It's sort of almost a small
And
thing, but to you it
and
might
not
be very
everyone
important.
have this ability. I could say that.
They have this what? They have this apathy. What's that?
Ability.
Ability. I've got that. You and most people probably have this ability. That's it. Ability.
I think woman has a yes. Maybe they. I don't know, but it's the result prove that women always notice more than the male the men notice.
What do women notice more than men?
And seriously to say that maybe their partners was cheating. Usually women would
Funny how you
find
bring
this.
that issue up. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, but I don't know. But
How about maybe
exactly
their partner needs to go to the hospital because, or they've got they're ill in some regard,
yes,
or their bank balance is lower than it should be. Yeah, okay.
and you will find they're nervous or they look so they look so how do we say that? It looks that they not put their uh it's not focused on your side. It looks like they focus on the other side. They have other others interests, something like that.
They're we'd say sort of distracted, I think. Distracted?
Distracted.
Distracted. Yeah. Okay. So have I spelled that correctly? I think yeah, distracted. Oh, is that right? Yes. My spelling is improving. Can't believe it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, you might notice that this person is different. They're not quite the same as they were. So part of your mind is thinking, well, they've changed. Why is that? And I wonder if it's this. I wonder if it's that. Oh, I wonder if it's that. I hope it's not that one. And you may be correct, of course. Yes. They've lost their phone or whatever it is.
Yes, and won't
Okay,
reply
so
to you immediately.
this word again once more on the screen. Are you looking at your screen, Florence?
Uh, doesn't
You're halfway there. So you're better than you were, but you've lost a little bit. So it's more dozen.
doesn't
Dozen. Yeah, dozen. That's it.
doesn't.
That's it. So, yeah, well done. I won't do statistics again, or statisticians. Statistician.
Statistical.
I can't even. I haven't got it quite right myself. And we won't do substantiating again either. So well done,
Substantial.
everybody. I think you've done very well today. Very, very good. Well done. So, any last comments or things you want to mention or say or ask? Because we're coming to the end of the class now, it being 7:30ish.
I will read it. I will read this article
You read
after.
it again? Yeah.
Yes, read it again. Yes.
Yeah, read it again. That's not a bad idea, yes. And if you want to read it again to practice the English, the words, read it out loud. Don't say it under your breath quietly. Say it out loud. Not really loud, but just loud enough for you to hear it with your ears. Because that's normally how we practice. You can't really practice in your head, sort of a thing.
Yes. And check the pronunciation on dictionary.
On the dictionary, yes, if you can do, that's good, yes. And maybe form a list of words that you think you're a bit not quite so good on, and have a list of words that you can practice regularly. Do five a day maybe, or something. Don't do thousands or hundreds, but just a few a day. And then try to get those right, and then move on to other ones if you can. Something like that. Sometimes the dictionary, I would suggest an English dictionary rather than say Google. Google's okay, I think, but sometimes they do sort of say things a little bit odd, I would suggest. But even this dictionary is sometimes a bit odd too, I would suggest as well. But
Yes.
I say odd, but it is good enough. There's lots of variations with how things are pronounced, an awful lot of variation.
It's really helpful. Yes. Compare with others, other way to learn how to pronounce or how to speak.
Well, when I say variation, I suppose I'm thinking in the sense that the Americans, there's a lot of words they say differently.
Yes.
Even precognition, they'll probably say slightly differently, but most would be the same. But there's always that subtle difference. Definitely Australians say things slightly differently, and Scottish say things slightly differently.
Scottish.
Yes. So, Michael, maybe this word here. This is your trickiest word, I think. Have you got a second, Michael? If you're still there.
Unwavering.
Oh, that's really good. That's really, really good. That's your best time. That's your best go at that word, I would say. You don't really have a problem with that anymore. I keep having the sound in the background that it sounds like someone's making a cup of tea or a drink. So is someone drinking? Admittedly, I've
No,
got a drink here as well.
it's not me. It's not me.
Oh, it's me. I apologize.
So how many drinks have you had? I think I've had 2 or 3 drinks. Is it alcoholic, or is it water, or is it tea?
Just tea.
Tea. Is it a brown tea or a fruit tea?
I
Green
think
tea?
it's everyday tea.
Oh, an everyday tea. So who make it then? Is it?
I brought it in Marks and Spencer.
Oh, Marks and Spencer's. Oh, very nice. Okay. Very good. So let's stop the recording at this point. Where's the stop button here somewhere? There it is. Ping.